the first Emirati Arab PhD scholar to research emotional intelligence and its effect on the leadership in Middle East, North Africa. The author of the 2020 book, أسرار التجديد في زمن الكوفيد, published and available in Sharjah International Book Fair 2020. The author of the 2022 book, You Lead Your Life in both languages, English and Arabic. Columnist in Sayyidati magazine and the Khalij newspaper. The chairperson of Board of Governors of Dubai, Carmel School. TEDx speaker 2019. And ambassador of knowledge by UAE Red Crescent. And a lot, I think, she's a great influencer. AlHawary, thank you for being our guest.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Salma. It's so kind of you to be here. Thank you for having us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As-salatu as-salam ala ashraf al-mursaleen, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. AlHawary, first PhD scholar to research emotional intelligence and its effect on leadership. People who know me probably know me as well from social media, and people also know me from conferences that we've been together with. Much love to everybody, and thank you for all the way from Dubai coming to Abu Dhabi. Today, my topic is about EQ in a world of digital transformation. But I will not be technical, and at the same time, I'd like to start with a story. You might say, Maya, what are you doing in here? This is about a startup investment entrepreneur. And I was quite impressed, Dr. Asma, about your, mashallah, Abu Dhabi healthcare and public care. Allah ya'tikum al-afiyah. But let me start with a little story that will probably take you and end up as an entrepreneur. So, in 2013, my whole journey is about being a principal and vice principal in private curriculum schools in Dubai. And I worked for 8 years as a vice principal, British curriculum school, and then I worked for His Highness Shaikh bin Mubarak, and he was the Minister of Higher Education at the time. And then it was about 10 years of leading British and American curriculum schools as an Emirati woman, the first, in 2012. And imagine at that time, I was leading a school that was a blended learning school. So in 2013, there was actually the whole idea of face-to-face and online, what we've done here today in COVID. And then after I completed 10 years, I had a change of heart. And with the death of a very dear person to me, my life turned upside down. And I began thinking about who am I and what am I supposed to be doing in this life? And what is the purpose of us being human beings? I mean, chickens know what to do every day. Cows know what to do every day. But what do? Or was I born just to eat, drink, sleep, and have children? Bearing in mind that I have a special needs child. So for me, it was okay, at least you live for her. But that wasn't enough for me. Went through depression for 5 years, tried to come out of it, and came out with emotional intelligence. So when I started researching emotional intelligence and applying it on myself and improving my mental health, it was then when I decided to start my PhD program in Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University. When I was asking questions, who we are and who am I couldn't find anybody to answer. People at the time did not speak about mental health, and people at the time, we teach our children sharing is caring, yet as you grow older, sharing is not caring because not a lot of people care and nobody wants to know. So going through that journey on my own and then starting my PhD, it was then when I found my voice and I was able to understand who I want to be as a human being. So being the first PhD scholar, it opened the doors of social media for me. At the time, I had no followers and I didn't know what Instagram was. Then when I started talking about emotional intelligence, being able to change people's lives and being able to improve and influence others and their thoughts and how they think of themselves. And the whole idea was to show them that we're not alone and that even though we live in a digital world, we still need each other. I think the pandemic really showed us that we are, yes, living in artificial intelligence mode, but there is that human aspect where we really need each other. So going forward, I wrote a book, and then I wrote my second book, and now I'm on my third book. But I also had a passion for, I'm somebody that will actually, Maya, why don't you open up your own abaya line? You have, mashallah, nice abayas. And I remember I was training at the time. I've trained about 900 hours around the Emirates on emotional intelligence, positivity, and tolerance and leadership. And I remember one of the trainees said, Maya, why don't you open your abaya line? I'm like, oh, that's actually interesting. So I opened it up 2 months or 3 months before COVID. And wow, it was amazing. But then when COVID hit, everything tumbled down. With COVID, I went through a divorce, and that was kind of hard as well. But I still believed that I wanted to keep things afloat, and I wanted to do everything that I can do. So I have my children, I have my examinations, my PhD, I have my books, and I have my humanitarian work that I used to speak. But I also wanted to have this entrepreneurship feel and an investment feel. It was hard. It was hard. It's not something that you can keep afloat. You actually need money to make money. It's a fact. Yeah? I mean, you also have to have that brilliant idea that would stand out. Because there's plenty of everything. And it's crowded. So for you to actually find yourself, your voice as an entrepreneur, you actually have to really focus on it. For me, I was trying to open up doors and see where do I fit the most. And it was at the end of, actually this month, I started about a year and a half ago, a year and 3 months ago, I opened my store in Mirdif City Center. But guess what? I noticed that I was losing. So as an entrepreneur, you also have to have the ability to say stop. Stop the bleeding. Some things could be very dear to your heart, but then there are decisions as leaders, as entrepreneurs, and you have to have that risk management in yourself and the ability to say, I'm done. And let's move on to our next. In this journey of being who I am today, I realized that we have to be agile, we have to be flexible, and we have to adapt. And that's what emotional intelligence is actually all about. Who are you exactly? Are you somebody that is, against change? Human beings like to be comfortable. You could be comfortable being sad, but that's all you know. You've never tasted what happiness means. Maybe happiness is a myth, but at least being content with who you are and what you have, with your losses and with your gains. Are you content? You have to have that much of emotional intelligence to be able to adapt and say, I need to change. Entrepreneurship to me has been an interesting journey. Lost a lot, won some, but it really showed me what kind of challenges we actually face. It gave me boldness, courage, the ability to express. Yes, you win some, you lose some. But isn't that what life is all about? Yeah? So, 2 more to come. Focusing more on, we always, standing here today, we think about success stories and we don't like to share our losses. But for you to have the courage to say, okay, I understand that we all go through cycles. As an entrepreneur, you have to be able to have that much emotional intelligence to accept your defeat as well. Thank you so much for coming here today, and thank you so much for having me on the stage.
Thank you very much.